What if the most powerful way to shut down a toxic person isn't fighting back, blocking them, or calling them out, but turning yourself into something so ordinary and emotionless that they can't feed off you anymore? What if your secret weapon isn't confrontation, but becoming so boring, so neutral, so unreactive that their drama starves to death on its own? That's the shocking logic behind the gray rock method, a psychological tactic that sounds strange, but has saved countless people from emotional exhaustion, manipulation, and constant conflict. You've probably never been taught it, but once you understand how it works and when to use it, you'll see toxic interactions in a completely different light. At its core, the gray rock method is exactly what it sounds like. Picture a dull gray rock lying on the ground. Nobody stops to pick it up. Nobody stares at it. It's just there, unremarkable, invisible, neutral. That's the role you take on when you're dealing with someone who constantly tries to provoke you, drag you into drama, or drain you emotionally. You stop giving them the fuel they crave. You stop being entertaining, reactive, or vulnerable to their hooks. You become bland, boring, and emotionally flat, not because you're weak, but because it's the most strategic way to shut down their control over you. This isn't about ghosting or disappearing. It's about taking the power out of their game while you're still in the room. Here's why it works. Manipulative or narcissistic people thrive on reaction. They bait you, poke at you, and create chaos because your emotional response is their payoff. It gives them a sense of power and keeps you on their hook. In psychology, this is called reinforcement. When a behavior gets a reward, it continues. The gray rock method flips the script. By refusing to react, you remove the reward. Over time, their behavior loses its effect and often fades out. It's like cutting off the oxygen to a fire. Without your emotional energy, the flames die down. It sounds simple, but it's hard to do because your natural instinct is to defend yourself or push back. Gray rocking is the opposite of instinct. It's calculated self-control. There are situations where this tactic is a lifesaver. Maybe you're stuck working with a coworker who constantly undermines you. Maybe you're forced to deal with a toxic family member at gatherings. Maybe you're co-parenting with someone who thrives on drama and arguments. In these situations, cutting contact completely isn't possible. You're locked into some level of interaction. Gray rocking gives you a shield, a way to minimize damage without escalating the conflict. It lets you conserve your mental energy and protect your peace without getting trapped in endless debates or emotional traps. But you can't use it everywhere or all the time. If there's any chance of physical danger, retaliation, or abuse escalating, gray rocking isn't enough. It can backfire if the other person senses you're pulling away and decides to push harder. In those cases, your safety comes first, and you may need outside help or a different plan. And even when it is safe, using gray rock long-term without relief can wear you down. It's like holding your breath. It works for a while, but not forever. You need to balance it with self-care, boundaries, and, when possible, reducing contact completely. So how do you actually do it? Start by stripping your responses down to the bare minimum. Keep your answers short and factual. Yes, no, I see. Avoid giving details, explanations, or emotional tones. Don't ask follow-up questions that pull you into their story. Speak in a calm, neutral voice. Keep your facial expression relaxed. Minimize eye contact. If they insult you, don't defend yourself. Don't correct them. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you react. If you must respond, respond like a gray rock would. Solid, still, nothing for them to grip. Also, limit what you reveal. Don't give them new information about your plans, your feelings, or your weaknesses. Don't announce that you're using the gray rock method. That just invites them to test you harder. This is a covert tactic. You're changing your behavior without explaining why. You're training them to lose interest in you as a target because you're no longer fun to provoke. The less fuel you provide, the sooner the game ends. But make no mistake, this is harder than it sounds. Holding back your reactions takes energy. It can feel unnatural and even uncomfortable. One emotional slip, One sarcastic comment, one sigh of frustration, and you've just fed the very behavior you're trying to starve. It also carries the risk of escalation. Some manipulative people don't go quietly. They push harder when their usual tactics stop working. They may switch to guilt, threats, or other tricks to get a rise out of you. You need to be prepared for that. Another hidden cost: you can start to feel disconnected from yourself. Being neutral all the time can make you feel fake or numb, especially if you're a naturally expressive person. You might start to doubt yourself or feel isolated because you're not allowed to be real around this person. That's why gray rocking should be used as a shield, not as a lifestyle. You step into the role when you need protection, and you step out when you're safe again. To make this real, imagine a scenario. You have a coworker who always tries to embarrass you in meetings, throwing sarcastic comments or provocative questions your way. Normally, you'd defend yourself, argue back, or show irritation, exactly what they want. This time, you gray rock. When they make a remark, you give a calm, neutral nod. When they bait you with a question, you respond with a flat, okay, or that's interesting, and nothing else. You don't give them eye contact. You don't give them tone. You don't give them a hook. At first, they push harder, trying to get a reaction. You hold steady. Over time, they realize it's no longer fun. They stop targeting you. You've quietly shifted the power dynamic without a fight. The gray rock method isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about strategically refusing to hand over your emotional energy. You're saying, I control my reactions, not you. You're breaking the cycle of manipulation by refusing to be part of the game. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. It works not because you've out-argued them, but because you've removed the very thing they need to keep the drama alive. Here's the takeaway. The gray rock method is a tool, not a permanent mask. Use it when you can't escape a toxic interaction. Use it to protect yourself while you create space or plan your exit. Don't let it swallow your authenticity or become your default personality. And always put your safety first. The power lies not in what you say, but in what you refuse to give away. That's how you starve manipulation at its source, protect your peace, and quietly reclaim control of your life without a single argument.